Today on the AI Applied podcast, we are talking about the cage match showdown, the Groq versus Groq. Jaden, I don't know if when you saw this Groq with a Q, Groq, and then a couple of days later, Elon, because he always has to do this, immediately drops like his, well, our Groq is better than your Groq, and it's like, Groq 1.5 coming out. So I want to kind of like just address like both of these things, because first of all, on the Groq with a Q thing, like this is the thing that was absolutely blowing up the internet, where it's this thing where it's you can get on there and try it, Groq, and it's this new like language processing unit based thing instead of GPUs. But here's the thing, it is blindingly fast. I mean, like it's like 10x faster than GPT-4. And here's one of the interesting things about that. And let's maybe start with this before we go over to Elon stuff, which is just essentially like what's interesting to me about this is maybe not that people are going to be using Groq, but just like the underlying technology. And I talk about this all the time when I talk, I have this newsletter, AI Mindset, and we have this quick start guide that, the designer Robert Haslam helped me build. And this, we're going to be doing courses and things like that. But the interesting thing when I think about this stuff, Jaden, is the underlying technology underneath that is usually more interesting than the product itself. So have you seen these demos where this thing is so blindingly fast?
Yeah, it's insane. And I've tested it out too. Anyone can. It's publicly available, which is super cool. And the reason for that, and it's also free. I mean, I think to a point you can use it. It's just groq.com. So super easy to go find that. I don't even know if I need to leave a link. If you can't remember those, 4 letters, you don't deserve a link. Natural selection. But yeah, so I think that I think it's incredible. And the reason why they can do this when I was testing it is they're actually running it with Mistral AI, which of course is the French AI company that is open source, meaning if they host this on their servers, they'll pay for server costs when you use this thing, but like they don't have to pay credits to OpenAI. And I think this is actually almost like a story that not a lot of people are talking about. That I think is almost as big of a story, because I have tried Groq. I'm impressed by how blindingly fast it is. I think when they benchmarked it, it was like exactly 5x faster than GPT 3.5, and I'm not exactly sure where it is compared to GPT 4. I mean, they compared it to 3.5 because it was a little bit more favorable. But in any case, like it's phenomenally fast. The thing I love about it is that right when you generate something, it literally has like a seconds timer there that's like running, and it's like tells you exactly how many milliseconds it took to generate. I love this. This reminds me of back in the day, Google used to actually have on the Google results how fast a web page was.
I remember that.
Literally, people were clicking on one link over another because like they're like, this one literally is faster. And it's funny because Google for a long time was telling developers like, hey, we're taking your website speed into account when it's like how we rank things. But people weren't listening. And so they're like, okay, fine. Don't even worry about us. Now the user is going to see how slow your website is or how fast it is, and they'll be able to make their decision. And I think that actually helped a lot of developers put a big focus and emphasis on speeding up their pages. So like that with Google, which I think was a great kind of precedent, we're now doing this with AI models. And it's almost like a call out in my mind where it's like, hey, ChatGPT, like, are you going to put like a timer on yours to see how fast you are? Or Meta or Gemini, right? Like, you only put that timer on there if you know you're the fastest. So they're the fastest, and it's kind of a shot across the bow for the rest of the industry.
Okay, now I'm obsessed with the timer. I didn't even think of that. That's hilarious. Yeah, no, this is the thing, because everybody's sort of like, because again, does anybody really need to, is it killing you to wait an extra, millisecond? No, but this is the interesting part about the underlying thing. It was like Blink AI. It's like what Rabbit Technologies, the R1 is doing sort of under the hood. All this stuff. The tech turns out to be maybe more interesting than the thing itself. And this is what I was like really fascinated by about this, like LPU over GPU, right? So the LPUs are designed specifically for tasks that involve just processing a language, right? So basically LLMs, and they're apparently like optimized for like sequential processing. So like, obviously tasks like, one after the other kind of thing. And whereas a GPU is more like parallel processing and doing like a lot of different things at once, but not necessarily in sequence. And that's what allows it to go so fast. So I'm just wondering sort of like what this is going to look like going forward. So I'm fascinated by that, Jaden. I don't know if you have anything else on this, because over in the blue corner, we have the other Groq, the Groq with a K, that we also have to get to. But like final thoughts on the Q Groq, about like whether you think that this is going to sort of like make a big splash in this world.
Yeah, well, I think it's faster, and it's not just the OpenAI strategy of like throw more compute at it per se to make
Right.
it faster. It's actually interesting. I've seen a lot of criticism. It's mostly like funny on Twitter and X and stuff. It's like OpenAI is not optimizing their models. They don't care. They're just like, you know what? Sam Altman can raise $7 trillion for chips. That's the solution to scaling up. It's like, hold on a second. Like, we definitely could think of some better architecture to make these things a little bit more like less like compute intensive. And so you see this coming from other companies like Mistral has looked at this a little bit. Now you see Groq doing this with a whole new architecture, right? Going from GPU to LPU. And they're able to do this. Like OpenAI, I think without too much investment could do this. But right now they're just like, no, we're in the lead, and the way we stay in the lead is to just throw more GPUs at it. So we're just going to go to the moon. So yeah. I think that's funny, but there definitely is. Speaking of Twitter, there is a little bit of beef right now. You know, I thought the beef would be between OpenAI and Groq. No, it turns out it is between Groq and Groq. There's a showdown that is happening. Apparently, when Elon Musk unveiled Groq for Twitter and announced what its name was, this Groq sent them a cease and desist. And at first I was like, oof, software company versus Twitter and Elon. Like, yeah, that's probably not gonna.
Wow.
You know, I don't think it's gonna work. But I think what is interesting is Groq isn't just a software company. Like the OG Groq with the Q is actually a hardware company. Like they're building their own chips. So when you have your own chips, when you have your own software, when you have like, it seems like a very robust thing. I'd be curious to see if Elon gets forced to change the name of his in the future. Yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be interesting.
That's unbelievable. I have no idea. Yeah, that's amazing, right? Because, and especially like when you have a big splash like this, like Blake AI did, like Rabbit did, like when, the Humane AI Pen did, that is sometimes enough to convince people like, okay, this is a name brand that I trust. So like, I would love to see that court case with Elon. But this is the thing, like, I'm wondering if Elon, like OpenAI did, like had this 1.5 in his back pocket and was waiting just for the right moment to drop it. But then like OpenAI's Sora drops and Gemini's 1.5 drops. He's like, this isn't as badass as I thought it was going to be. But so, 1.5, it's announced. It hasn't even come out. It's supposed to come out like in March or something like that. And here's, some of the things that this is supposed to do. It's supposed to like reduce hallucinations, more accurate, reliable information. Like, yeah, no, duh, that's supposed to happen. Like enhanced reasoning and coding abilities. What does it say? New version is expected to build upon those capabilities. It'll also have the ability to analyze and summarize online discussions and provide concise summaries around that. It'll sort of like, and that's all like, yeah, whatever. That's kind of like normal. But, he has to leverage what X is all about. So it's really like, in theory, it's going to be there's going to have this new feature in creating content, enhancing the quality, the clarity, the relevance of the social media's posts. And I think that it's kind of buried in there, but I think that's where people will, because there's tons and tons of creators on this. I will say, Jaden, on Groq, full disclosure, when it came out, I paid whatever it was. I don't want to give the wrong numbers out here, but I think I added like $16 to my premium account a month to get this because I wanted to see. It felt like Jaden, you and I are cutting edge. Yeah. Living here on like what's happening right now. So I would try that. And it doesn't really do that well. Every once in a while you strike it rich and it's great. So I would cancel it. But then something else came out. I got to know right now. I paid it. It was kind of garbage. I'm like, oh, so anyway, I go back and forth. What are your thoughts on Elon and Groq?
Yeah, I mean, I think it has a lot of potential. At the end of the day, it's a V1 product. So maybe when 1.5 comes out, everyone's playing catch up right now. You got Gemini, like full disclosure, I'm not paying for Gemini. It just hasn't done it for me. Now, I have heard from some people, there's some amazing things with the context window. So, I could be proven wrong and maybe there's some good use cases there. I've been seeing some posts on X about it. But yeah, I think Groq has the potential to be good. It hasn't sold me either. I think I'm still paying for it. I don't think I've canceled it because I paid for it when it got out, tried it a few times. I was like, cool. I think you use Perplexity in the same way that you probably would have used Groq, where you source news information and get some like insights from it that way. So I'd be curious to see if it moves in that direction or kind of where it sits. I think its main value proposition is its exclusive data set. So I feel like it probably won't add all the other AI language models like Perplexity. So Perplexity has a pretty safe spot there. But yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see where this how this plays out.
Can't wait to see this. Yeah, keep an eye on it. Like, if they really do come out, I will test it when it comes out.
All right. Well, thank you so much to everyone for tuning in to the AI Applied podcast. Hope you all have an amazing rest of your day. Make sure to rate us wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll see you next time.